Hey guys, Alientude here with a double unboxing for you. These swords are from Amazon, I believe. I'm pretty sure I know what's in both of these. I don't know which one is which, but I'm pretty sure these are both from Amazon. This one I know is from, this one I'm not quite as positive, but I'm pretty sure it is. And these are going to, assuming these are what I think they are both review samples. Now, when I say they're from Amazon, that should have some positive connotations when it comes to shipping and some negative connotations. With Amazon, you get, generally speaking, fast shipping, good tracking, that kind of thing. But you also get, and I'm sure I'm not the only one that's had this experience, it's just completely insufficient packaging. There's another box in here, and it doesn't feel like there's any packaging material in here at all. And that's a downside to having your swords fulfilled by Amazon, is their packaging is beyond lackluster. It's negligent, honestly. So hopefully the box that's within there is going to be a more sturdy one, because, you know, this is going to be a sharp sword. You don't want a sharp sword flying around a box. That's incredibly dangerous. So let's see. And pretty much what I expected. This is a much more normal sword box shoved into a box that's way too big for it. And that's Amazon, unfortunately. That's what they do all the time with shipping. All right, so this right here, I've seen this before, Fideszkazan's little insert about their swords, and it's about katana. This is not a katana. So this is pretty well packaged in here, actually. Let me show you that before I take it apart. Hopefully you can see that. It's packaged in here pretty nicely in some foam. And you can see pretty much what it is. Some kind of European style longsword with, frankly, a very Aragorn Strider style crossguard and kind of Strider inspired pommel as well. And what looks like, I'm not sure if this is leather wrap or not. It might be. There's some very thin filmy strands on it. I don't know what that is. And a little Fideszkazan tag. And a belt of very soft leather, or something reasonably similar to leather. A very not historical mounting system, but that's not a big deal. And yeah, so I am going to give some very basic first impressions of the two swords in these boxes, but I want to preface this by saying that I don't particularly like giving first impressions, because first impressions are just that. They're first, they're initial. I haven't had a chance to put the sword through my review process. So there's a great chance that my opinion on the sword will change a lot after I've had a chance to, do the full review. So don't place a lot of importance on my first impressions. I don't think they are worth much at all. All right, so there is a piece of plastic that I'm glad I noticed that, because if I had not noticed that, that would have just gotten stuck in the scabbard, would have eventually, when I sheathed the sword, it probably would have driven this down into the scabbard and ended up ruining the scabbard. So if you happen to get one of these, check for that plastic. That's not something you want in there. All right. So we've got a pretty decent looking blade here. It's very, very stiff. The grip is interesting. I'm not sure how much I like it right now. It's got some heft. The entire blade has some heft to it. They've got a long fuller, so kind of a 12A-ish, but at the same time it's got a central ridge here, so it's not really a historical sword. This is very clearly designed to be like a Strider, which I like that they're doing something that's not just a direct copy of that design. They're doing their own take on it, which is good. And it doesn't have any kind of complexities to the blade really much at all. Looking at the edge here, it is definitely sharp. It's a toothy edge. I can see the light reflecting off it in a kind of uneven manner. So it's definitely a toothy edge. Let me grab a piece of paper to test the sharpness, because I have to test the sharpness. All right, so let's test that sharpness. Didn't bite in there, but that wasn't very well done. Yeah, it's not biting in on that edge. That edge doesn't feel like it's biting in at all either, so let's see. So when I inserted in there, it was still tearing some. It did cut some, but it also stopped pretty quickly. Yeah, so up here is probably the sharpest part, but it's not paper cutting sharp, not really. And once you get down to about here, it runs out of sharpness pretty much entirely, and it fails at cutting the paper. Now that's not to say this can't cut. It's just that's how it cuts against paper. And like I said, with how, just looking at how the light reflects off the edge, this is a toothy edge that would really benefit from a stropping. All right, so let me try to see one more thing. So I can't get it back in that way. Let's reverse it. Yeah, so there's only one way this fits in. It's a very tight, very snug fit. There's absolutely no rattle at all, but it comes out very nicely. It only fits in one way, but that's not a bad fit. And I should mention, this sword is quite inexpensive. I'll have to, I don't know off the top of my head, but I will put it up on screen here. It's, I believe, less than $200. All right, moving on to the other sword. This one's a little bit more normal of a sword box, but it is also fairly loose in here. Although it sounds like there's a small amount of packing paper, which again is kind of emblematic of Amazon. I get packages from them all the time that has like one sad sheet of packing paper and then a box that flies around the exterior box, because one piece of packing paper is basically useless. So that's actually more packing paper than I was expecting, but it's still not enough to keep the box in place. All right, so here we go. Now this one's going to be interesting. If this is what I think it is, this is going to be a little bit different of an unboxing. There is some weight to this box, I gotta say. All right, it is Fideszin also, so this is the other sword I was expecting from them. But this one also has additional instructions, and I'll get back to that in a moment. You can see it's just got a layer of foam on it. And wow, okay, so there is this very sturdy piece of cardboard here with zip ties that the blade is supposed to be on. Every single zip tie is cut or broken. So that didn't work. And the reason it's like that is because this is a disassembled sword. So we have here the bare blade with the tip protector. That's nice to see. And what looks like a hex or a screw, a threaded rod here. I'll take a closer look at this in a moment. We've got some Allen wrenches and various pieces to put it all together. We've got the molded plastic, it looks like, hilt or grip. If you can't tell, this is very much a tactical design. We've got the cross guard here. We've got the pommel, which is interesting because it's not particularly, doesn't look like it's particularly slotted or keyed to the tang, which is not a great thing. You want that to fit to the sword as nicely as possible. And we have the scabbard here. We have more of these little filmy strands also. Not sure what those are. And just for some reason, some leather cord just kind of wrapped around this one spot. No idea what that's for. So, and then the Fidestazin tag. And that is everything in here. So this is a sword that I will need to put together. And I'm not sure what I do with the instructions now. they're probably in that box. Again, I'll have to get them out. I'm not going to sit here and subject you to me putting this together on camera. I don't think that would be particularly interesting, especially because I am so not a handy person. But I do want to take a quick look at a couple things here. I'm going to have to take my glasses off because I need new ones. So my biggest first complaint here, and this is definitely something I'm going to be talking to Fidestazin about, these corners where the tang meets the blade are pretty much 90-degree angles. That needs to be rounded off because that is very much a stress riser spot that this sword, I would worry, will snap right there with any degree of hard use. And it's definitely looks like the threaded on portion. It's definitely not part of the tang. It looks like it has been welded on. Yeah, that's been welded on. So that's also not going to be quite as strong of a point. I don't know how much that's going to affect it. It doesn't look like the steel's been burnt or anything like that, so it doesn't look like a bad weld, so that's good. But there we go. This will be an interesting project to put together, and I will be reviewing these swords in the coming months. I don't know exactly when yet. My schedule is absolutely packed with swords to review, but I do put review samples pretty high up on my priority list, right behind loaners. So this will get out within the next, I think it's around 4 to 5 months. I don't remember exactly when it'll be out. And by the way, I will put the price for this sword up on screen as well. And I hope you enjoyed this unboxing video. It's not something I've done a whole lot of, but I know some people really do enjoy watching them. All right, I changed my mind. I am going to see if I can record how to put this together. It looks pretty damn simple, and I'll probably end up fast forwarding through parts of this. So we put these together in order, of course. So crossguard first. So interestingly and good, they provide extra nuts and bolts on this. I expected to see only one. So it says to do the pommel first. And when I say only one, I expected to only see one set. Just going to drop the Allen wrench every single turn. I'm sure this is absolutely fascinating. Hopefully you can actually see what I'm doing. I angled the camera down and now I'm right back behind the table with the sword behind the table. Pommel nut attached. Assume we have, yeah. This is just a wee bit awkward with a sharp bare blade. Probably should have put taken the plastic wrap off and put the scabbard on, but I did not do that. All right, this feels pretty secure. Do one more tightening of the pommel. Yeah, it's good. All right, let's see if I succeeded making it not be loose. Yep, nothing's loose. All right, so I did manage to get that all assembled. If the footage came out, you'll see it. You'll have already seen me putting it together. If not, this will just be a jump skip to me with a fully assembled sword. If I wasn't able to get the footage to work, it was not hard at all to put this together. And they actually, it's pretty nice, they included an extra pommel nut and assembly for the grip. There's an extra one of these, which is a nice touch, and the hex nut or the Allen wrench for the pommel, and then 2 for the grip scales, or not even scales, the grip, where you can tighten them against each other. So this actually, looking at this, looks very similar to the first blade, although the fuller is longer on this one. About the same amount of flex, it looks like. And you can obviously see it's a fully blackened blade because tactical means black, right? Let's see, the edge, it's looking pretty toothy also. Definitely not as refined of an edge as the Fidesz's katana I reviewed a while ago. Let's see how it does on paper. Much better than the first sword. Yep. So it's still, because it's a toothy edge, I can see it, I can see how it does in the cutting. It is still a toothy edge, and because of that, it's still kind of doing some tearing rather than super clean cuts, but with a stropping, this will get very nicely sharpened. So there we go. This is the second sword I'm going to be reviewing. Again, I don't know exactly when these reviews are going to come out, but I want to say a thank you to Fidesz's for sending me these swords for review, and for everybody else, keep an eye out for some more unboxing videos, as well as the reviews of these swords. Until next time, Alien 2 out.